Episode 3 of Mob Psycho 100, second base. Episode 4 of Mob Psycho 100, third base. Episode 5 of Mob Psycho 100, home base, without a raincoat. Episode 4 and 5 of Mob Psycho 100 was perfect. It was awesome. It was amazing. Stark social commentary, amazing production value, and kick-ass action scenes that would make Michael Bay jizz in his pants. This was a great introduction to how crazy the Mob Psycho 100 series is going to get, and it looks like it might have featured the death of Dimple. I'm not exactly the biggest fan of Dimple, and despite the fact that he was apparently killed by Teru in this week's episode, I think he's going to be back. I mean, he's in the intro. I mean, we're going to see that little ball of shit gas again. That being said, episodes 4 and 5 of Mob Psycho 100 were perfect. They were great compliments to each other, and the best two-parter I've seen from the series, and episode 5 in particular was just perfect, in my humble opinion. Not just from the amazing action and the animation, but this incredible battle going on between two psychics who are completely different from one another and exactly the same, all at the same time. The story of episodes 4 and 5 of Mob Psycho 100 are pretty simple. The first episode is really great. What I love most about it is the Body Improvement Club. These are characters which, at their core, should be completely annoying, but they're freaking awesome. Despite the fact that they're a couple of meatheads, they genuinely care for Shigeo, for freaking Mob. They want him to be a part of their group, and they're not going to let him go that easily. And this involves them getting into this gang war between these two student groups from two completely different high schools, which results in this massive brawl with the Home Improvement Club coming in and just completely wailing on them. This one delinquent kid who's actually been playing it from behind the scenes the entire time, trying to get both groups to practically take each other out at once. The problem is, this school on the other side of the tracks has their very own resident psychic, and he goes by the name of Teru, otherwise known as Teru. And just like Mob, he's incredibly powerful with his psychic abilities. The difference is he doesn't truly appreciate how powerful they are, and he's used them for his very own greedy deeds. That's where Mob comes in, and that's where episode 5 comes in to completely melt our faces off with how frickin' amazing it is. What I love about this battle is it's not really Mob versus Teru, it's basically just Teru throwing everything he has at Mob, with Mob just blocking all of that, and then eventually going to his 100% powered state. But the build-up to that is clearly the best part of this episode, and it features some amazing animation and one hell of a psychic battle. Teru's abilities are really cool because unlike Mob, he actually uses his psychic abilities to try and move around real quick like a ninja, and even uses a lot of standard fighting techniques, stuff that you'd see in like Dragon Ball Z or One Punch Man. And there's a lot of great scenes of Mob just getting blasted through this school, crashing through the walls, going classroom to classroom, ending up in the home ec room, only to have a ton of kitchen knives thrown at him, which is a great visual imagery for this episode because we get to learn the reason why he doesn't use his psychic powers against other people is because, one, there was an event in the past where apparently his brother was being bullied and he intervened and used his powers and just wiped the floor with these goons. Just, maybe even just Tetsuo'd them to death, like made them explode. We don't really know the full extent of the damage, but his brother got hurt in the process, and he felt really bad about that. And then when he met Reagan, Reagan told him that he should never use his powers for something like this. And your psychic powers are special for you, but it doesn't give you the edge over anyone else, so to speak. Like, everybody has their very own special quirk or power, whether it be something like their personality, their athletic ability, or Mob's psychic abilities. And it's pretty funny that that's coming from Reagan. That was some really wise and sage advice. Not too dissimilar to what Uncle Ben was saying to Spider-Man, the old great power, great responsibility thing. But I think it's done a lot better in this episode right here. And then what follows is this war of ideals between the two characters. Because like I said, they're very similar to each other, but they're also very different all at the same time. Where you have the character of Mob who's afraid to use his powers because he doesn't want to have to rely on them too much, but he still wants to improve his overall character. And then you have Teru, who uses his powers and just flaunts them completely, and it's what gives him the edge. He thinks he's the own main character in his very own anime series, and he realizes that he's not. He's the Yamcha of the series because he ends up getting his ass handed to him when Mob goes 100% and ends up just completely whipping his ass, making him completely naked, not to mention deflecting a knife and making him completely bald right on the top and sending him flying to the sky with the rubble of the school, leaving him completely naked and having his pride crushed. It's a fantastic sequence, to say the least, and it took my breath away, and it's what made this episode so damn fantastic. So, what's the rundown on these 2 episodes of Mob Psycho 100? This is one of the greatest anime experiences I've ever had. What can I say? It's the perfect mixture of comedy and action, not to mention a lot of really great emotion and characterization. The character of Mob is so interesting because he's so different from a lot of other main characters, and yet the series still has like the feeling of like a classic shonen show, like, you know, Dragon Ball, One Piece, Yu Yu Hakusho, Naruto, that kind of thing, but it still isn't as stereotypical as those other ones, and a lot of that does have to do with the character of Mob, who always has to keep his emotions in check, and he's also just an enduring character. Like, he's someone that you want to be like, you know, despite the fact that he's kind of just normal and kind of blends into the background. I love the scene at the end of the episode where after searching for Dimple, he goes home and he sees his brother, and then he apologizes for the event that happened in the past. It's just, you can see that he is growing so much since the first episode of the series, and seeing his growth is fantastic, not to mention seeing his powers when he goes like full 100% is just great. He looks horrifying for one, but just his sheer raw aura and power is enough to knock Teru back. Teru is also a really interesting character. I have a feeling he's probably going to end up being sort of like the rival ally of the series. I don't really see him becoming a villain at all, and it'll be really fun to see him interact with Mob a little bit more as they go on some crazy psychic adventures. At least that's kind of what I'm hoping what will happen. I don't read the manga version, so this is all new to me, and that's another reason why this is so fresh. So if you're diving into this series for the first time, you're going to be blown away by the great characters, the awesome story, which just so happens to be funny and just kicked up to 11 when it comes to the action. I mean, there were some small snippets of some great action scenes in the first couple of episodes, but it really just came to a head in this one, and that's what made both of these episodes fantastic. Lots of laughs in episode 4 with a great build-up to a rival, and episode 5 just pays off with a lot of great action and some fantastic characterization, not just for Mob, but for our brand new rival character of Teru. These episodes were freaking solid. Both of them 5 out of 5. Check it out, Mob Psycho 100 fans. You're gonna love these episodes. But let's face it, if you are a fan, you've already watched them. And if you have, make sure to tell me what you thought about them in the comments section below. I would love to hear your thoughts about the battle between Teru and Mob. Were you really excited by all of that awesome animation? Did you have a favorite scene? What do you think of the series overall, and what do you hope to see from the rest of Mob Psycho 100? Thank you guys for watching this review. Make sure to use your psychic powers and hit that like button, and make sure to subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby.